Hey guys, welcome along to another Double Tap on YouTube. I am Stephen Scott.
And I am Shaun Preece. Hello.
You sure about that? You were kind of doubtful there for a minute.
Well, you know what? I thought I would just sort of zoosh up the intro a little bit. It gets a bit boring. I thought I'd change it up. Didn't work.
Dare you? Don't you know this is what people come to YouTube for?
What?
Illiterate nonsense?
Tedious amateurs doing their best. Yes, of course.
Yes.
Welcome to Double Tap.
Our best. Mediocre at best, I think, is what we are. Listen, today we're going to talk Google because, you know what, we haven't really given the Android people much love recently. Today we're going to talk a little bit more about the upcoming features and the cool stuff from Android, because actually is a lot. Shaun and I don't use Android phones.
No.
I do actually have one in my handy, beautiful blue, light blue, I believe it is. I'm stroking it right now. Ooh, little embossed.
Nobody cares
G
about
logo.
the colours.
Nice.
Stop talking about colours.
It's the Google Pixel 8 Pro, and it's very nice.
Okay.
But we're going to talk about some of the updates this phone will get, and I guess upcoming new editions this year as well. Carrie Morales is with us from Carrie On Accessibility. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Stephen. Thanks, Shaun. It's a pleasure to be back. And I'm not sure who doesn't care about the color. I certainly do. I love the colors.
Thank you, Carrie. Exactly. Some of us are actually interested in these things because some of us are style icons.
Mm-hmm. Okay. They should come out with a pink Pixel. I would totally get it.
There's no pink.
No, there's no pink.
Is it not like a pastel colour, no?
It doesn't look pink. Whatever kind of pink it is, it's a fake pink.
I'm out of this conversation. Forget it.
Don't you just love the blue, though? Isn't the blue just gorgeous?
Oh, the blue is pretty, too.
Isn't it nice?
Yes.
That's what cases are for. Who cares what? They should all be black or silver, and then put a case on the top. Simple as that.
The case is blue, Shaun Preece. That's the point. You see, the phone is blue and the case is the same colour. It's almost like they've had some joined up thinking going on.
You can also get a clear case, and then you can see it, the colour.
Exactly.
It's beautiful.
And you're sporting the Google Pixel Watch 2 as well?
Yes, I am. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I have so many questions. Okay. Maybe let's just start there, actually, because I'm going to tell you my thoughts, right? So they wanted me to review, well, not Google, nobody, Google wants me to do anything when it comes to Android, to be perfectly honest. But when it comes to reviewing, I was asked by some people, talk about the Google Pixel Watch 2. I turned it on, I set up TalkBack on it, I got it up and running, I paired it to the phone, I got everything going, it was all accessible. Mm-hmm. Except for the fact, if I'm being brutally honest, two things bothered me. One, the user interface was a little bit sluggy still, a bit clunky as well, didn't feel the most natural, took its time to respond, and then the voice that comes with it, oh my goodness, I had to take almost some kind of Prozac to get through the setup experience on it.
Well, first of all, Stephen,
you're not taking Prozac. Don't take Prozac while you're using Google devices. It's a bad idea.
Yes. This is no not medical advice on
advice.
No. I did come out with a Pixel Watch 2 review. At least I'm pretty sure I did.
You're as bad as that.
I had the same complaints. I am an Android user through and through. I do have an iPhone, but I daily drive an Android Pixel 8 Pro, and I have the Pixel Watch 2. And it works. That's all I can say. It works.
Right.
This
okay.
doesn't work well all the time.
What does that mean, Carrie?
What
Can you need to explain that? It works. What, you mean it turns on and functions?
Yes,
is that
it does. I can use it, and I have to use something because I can't use the Apple Watch with my Android phone, and it's what I have. And unfortunately, it is very sluggish, and I showed that, and will say that I don't like to fangirl over things. I will say when I feel like it sucks. And honestly, the experience and the responsiveness isn't not great. And the voice, oh my goodness, don't even get me started about the voice.
The time is 4:18.
It's like that. It's like the witch from Wizard of Oz. It's just I just can't.
No, it has to sound more muffled than that.
Oh, sorry.
It's 4:18.
There you go. That's it. That's exactly what it sounds like, isn't it?
Exactly. Right on point.
Okay, so the question has to be, Carrie, why? Why even have it in the first place? I mean, okay, you've got it now, so you're not going to throw it away. But if the user experience for a accessibility user is going to be that bad, why still bother with it? What do you use it for?
What do I use it for? When my hands are tied and I don't know where my phone is, I can still answer calls. I still get notifications on it. I can access Google Assistant on it, like for timers and things. And I don't have to be yelling at my phone and because I don't know where it is. I can find my phone using my watch. Like, that's one of the things that I really, really, really like about it. I'm like,
this is so like it's like the days of Microsoft Narrator when you used it to get to NVDA
Yes.
or JAWS. It's like there was no real function of it on its own. You used it to get to something else. So you're using your watch to find your phone. I mean, look, okay, I'm kind of been joking around, but Sean's making a good point here, right? That there needs to be a reason for this to be there, right?
But
I also like it for workouts, and I am very invested in the Fitbit ecosystem, and I have everything on there and I like keep track of my sleep, I keep track of my steps and my activity, and I can just tell Google, hey, start a walk, start a run, and it will like do that. Also the time. The time is a big thing for me.
Course, yeah.
I compulsively check what time it is.
Yeah, so did I.
And that's.
I want to tie you two down
thanks.
then on this, because I have had no experience of any Android Wear watch whatsoever.
That's okay.
Thank you. Let's take the fitness
okay.
aspect
We'll let you away
of
with
it. Because to be honest, all those use cases you say is equally applicable to the Apple Watch. So many times people say, oh, what do you use your Apple Watch for? Actually, I don't know. Just notifications, fitness. That's about it, really.
Yeah.
They're a really niche use case. Once you've got them, you like them, but it's really hard to justify them. But when it comes down to this watch in particular, the Pixel, is it the Pixel 2? Google Pixel Watch 2?
Yes, the Pixel Watch 2. Mm-hmm.
So what is it about it? Is it technically it's accessible? You can go through all your health activity settings and everything, and it all reads it out using the screen reader. Is it purely down to that it's sluggish, it's slow to swipe through, it's slow to get those responses?
Yes, it's slow. If you want to have patience with that, you can have patience with it. I sometimes really don't. But it's much better than the first generation. The first generation, I bought it 3 different times and I intended to make a review and I just could never muster up enough energy to actually do so because it was just so bad.
Can I just ask about the assistant on there? So how responsive is the assistant? Because I know with the iPhone, for example, when I summon Siri, it's a bit hit and miss as to what device is nearest, I guess, will actually pick up and respond. Is that similar with the Pixel Watch situation? Can you activate it more easily on the watch?
I don't actually use the Hey Google on the watch. I just press and hold the button because I turned it off because it was getting in the way of each other. So I turned it off on the watch and I can just press and hold the button, and then for my phone I can say the magic words and it'll respond to me.
And how does it work, though? The Google Assistant, I mean, because the Google Assistant is great normally anyway, but is it still, I mean, it's exactly the same on the watch, I'm assuming.
It's pretty similar on the watch, and I like that I can start workouts right away without having to like go through the interface. You just tell it to start and it will start, like, and it'll have like a little countdown timer and have a vibration and just automatically start. I do like that. And then, you can ask it general things like the time and make a timer and things like that, and make alarms and such. And that's I don't use Google Assistant all that much on the watch. They just came out with a newer feature actually where it's similar to the Apple Watch where you can find out the time through vibrations, and that one's pretty cool. So if you do a 2-finger tap, it'll give you the hours, and a 2-finger double tap, it'll give you the minutes. The only problem is that, like, if you have TalkBack already, it'll turn on the watch and, like, you'll hear it anyway. But I guess if you don't have TalkBack, if you have the speech off or, you know, you have
Yeah.
it completely off, it'll work. So yeah.
Well, if you don't mind me saying,
Sure.
I know you've mentioned before to us you've got a little bit of usable vision.
Mm-hmm.
Can you benefit at all from the screen on there? Because it is quite a nice screen from what I read.
Yes,
It's got
it is a
bright
nice
display.
screen. Yeah, I have a really big watch clock face, and one thing that I noticed is, like, at least to me, the watch clock faces that you can make on the Pixel is larger than the Apple Watch, which I appreciated.
Yeah.
And so if it's just the time, most of the time, as long as I bring it like right up to my eye, like less than a centimeter away, I can read it, like something like that. I can see it, and I did make it pink, and it's really nice.
Of course.
Has it got a magnification feature on the watch as well?
It does. And when I first tried the first generation, there was only one zoom level, and now you can control the zoom level and make it a little larger. And that has definitely helped on the second generation, though I think that's an OS update. So you might be able to get that for the first. I'm not sure.
I mean, my experience of phones, well, Google phones in particular, I say Google phones, I mean Android phones, all kinds of different brands, I guess, Samsung in particular. My sort of most or best experience that I had last before my vision got worse was the Samsung S10. And that phone I used solely with the screen. It was an amazing screen. The
Yes, OLED screens
ability
are great.
to get this text sized up, contrast was good. It was an amazing phone, much better than any iPhone, even up until I would say even now. I don't think anything beat that phone. I even saw an article recently saying, this Samsung S10 is still the best phone they've ever made. And I agree with that. I think in terms of power, in terms of style, in terms of design, and that amazing screen. Yeah, I mean, it was a fantastic device. I think I've said this a long time. I think Android is great for people with low vision. It's great. I don't know about the watch. Possibly it might be the same. But from personal experience trying it, it does feel that it could do with two major changes. One, it could do with more power in there, which I did hope for in the second generation, but it hasn't seemed to materialize. I hope that changes in the third gen, but I feel like maybe having that conversation again. And I'm not really prepared to buy another watch to find out. And it could do with some more voices. So certainly those are my two draws, and it sounds like you're coming up with the same conclusion.
One of the reasons why they chose this text-to-speech engine is to increase responsiveness. And the issue with the first gen, when it first came out, is it had similar voices to the ones on the phone. And when you used them, they were, even if, however you think unresponsive the second gen is, you can double that, maybe sometimes triple that. And that was like the first gen.
Yeah. Sorry, that's just unusable, though, isn't it? In practical terms, it's unusable.
So the first gen for me was unusable, and that's why I couldn't make a video on it. But the second one, you can use it.
Okay, look, let's move away from the watch because I could talk all day about that. But I want to talk to you about some of the other Android stuff because there were some big announcements this year, some big changes coming, some big improvements coming to Android. I mean, look, Android's a different fish here because, it is fully fledged. It is, we're not at that early stage anymore. It's certainly up there alongside, I would say, VoiceOver, almost side by side. I think Braille is perhaps one area that always kind of, it's a little bit of a horse race between the two. But on every other area, you pay your money, you get your experience with Android, and the same with iPhone. There are apps, I know people who say to me, apps that run terribly on iOS, that the same app runs much better on Android and vice versa. So there's good and bad, but once you've made your choice with Android, I think you're buying into a good ecosystem. So that's where we're at today. What's coming down the line? What's new?
Sure. One of the things that I'm most excited about in general, it's not necessarily accessibility related, but is Gemini and AI. So it's replacing Google Assistant. You can actually download it now, and that's what I've been using. Though there are some drawbacks, like for Google Home integrations, if you use that a lot, it's still not integrated with Gemini very well. But like, I love asking Gemini all sorts of questions, especially I have a 7-year-old and he has a lot of questions. I'm like, I have no idea how to explain that. Let's ask Gemini. And then it will be able to summarize PDFs or read them or give you answer questions and about there's going to be Gemini integrated into Gmail, into Google Photos, all sorts of integrations all over Android with Gemini. And I'm really excited about that. It's kind of similar to WWDC's announcements with Siri and all the actions that it'll be able to do. Yeah. So, but
can I just ask you, is Gemini replacing what is called today the Google Assistant? Is that taking over from that in the way that, eventually, I guess, Siri will be replaced by whatever this new Apple Intelligence?
Yes.
Right.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So all the things you would do with Google today, you would use Gemini for?
Yes.
Okay.
You're supposed to be able to do that, yes.
It's all about the integration, like you said, though, isn't it, Carrie? It's about trying to get it. I want to be able to ask my smart assistant, who's powered by AI, to turn on the heating and do this and do that all in one sentence without having to, think about how I need to phrase it and do it in several commands. It's just a natural way to do it. That's what we're waiting
language,
for.
Yes. Yes, that's so important to be able to do that, because now it's a lot of, let me think about how I specifically need to phrase them. It's like if you think about the Amazon Echo devices and things like that, you always have to be very specific.
Yeah.
But what I'm also really excited about is Project Astra, which is basically you'll be able to use a video feed to talk to Gemini or to ask questions. So similar to ChatGPT 4.0 and what they're working on, you'll be able to just live capture whatever's in the viewfinder, or just open the camera. It's kind of like a video call, right? And then you can just ask it questions. So similar to what we kind of want, especially as people that are blind and visually impaired and low vision, we just want questions answered. What's that thing over there? Sorry, I keep hitting the microphone. What's that thing over there? I do that
all the time. Sean's always shouting at me for doing that.
Yes.
Sorry. What's that thing over there? Describe this, or what's the neighbor doing across the street,
Wow, slightly stalkery there.
No, that is not. Okay, listen. Why is it stalkery when we ask that, but why any sighted person can just glance across and see, they're just taking their garbage out or whatever. And
people watching, Carrie, is my favorite, or used to be my favorite thing, right?
That's why.
Watching people, just sitting in a cafe, watching people go by, watching people on ice, seeing how many of them might fall. I want to see these things.
That makes you a horrible person, not a stalker.
But I think the problem is we have to put that into words, don't we? That's the difference with us. Everyone else can think it. We have to say it, and that's when it feels worse. But that's quite interesting. So this is kind of how far along is it compared to what GPT 4.0? Because as you well know, everybody's talking about GPT 4.0, but actually, I haven't really heard as much about Project Astra outside of the Google world. It's not in the mainstream, it seems, in the same way. Or am I missing something?
They're being very careful because, it's AI and all of that. So I think they're kind of just waiting maybe to develop it more. I'm not really sure. I haven't tried it personally, but I've seen all the demos and they look great, but they're demos. So of course they're going to look great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it available now?
No, it's not.
Not at all.
But neither is the ChatGPT 4.0 video part either. That's not available.
No, that's right.
Absolutely right. And they are. I mean, this is why we're so excited about AI. I know it's getting a little bit, everything's AI now, but this latest vision implementation is game changing for us, especially. And I was really excited by in the Google I/O when they did the demo of where did I leave my glasses?
Yes.
And it was on the desk next to the Apple or something. It's like a mixture of Recall, Microsoft's Recall, or Limitless, we've talked about as well, Stephen, on the show. And and vision capabilities as well.
Yes.
Seeing all these merged together. Fantastic. Yeah, I can't wait for this stuff. And they're all getting there as well. They're all working towards that vision, that multimodal AI. It's going to be good.
Absolutely. And one thing that I am excited about that not a lot of people have really discussed, I don't think, is the fact that right now, if you talk to Gemini, it is taking your voice and translating it into text and processing that. But it will eventually, whenever Google decides to, it will take your voice and process just the voice, depending on your tone, depending on all these actual things that are in your voice, and it can process that information as well. So, same thing, I think, with ChatGPT. But along the same lines as AI and Gemini, we're also going to get image descriptions based off of Gemini with TalkBack. So that's also exciting.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And this will make descriptions easier to get if you're a TalkBack user, which of course is something you'd probably be doing more and more. So that's pretty cool.
Yes.
I was also reading about Google Lookout getting some new features as well, because that app has been around for a while.
Yes, there's a new find mode, and there's also image question and answer. To my knowledge, question and answer doesn't actually use Gemini, and it's based off of older image to text engines or whatever it's called. And it's just use Gemini or Be My Eyes, honestly, is my recommendation. Or whatever AI, app you're using. It's probably most likely much better. The find mode is, I guess, useful. However, there's only a few categories. I know there's doors and windows, cups, bottles, chairs, and tables and chairs. And you can only select from, I think it's 8 categories or something, somewhere around there.
Seems so strange to me. I remember it was either SuperSense or Envision when I first tried this find object sort of concept. And you had to choose, a category like kitchen. And I'm looking for a fork. And you had to swipe through. It's like, this seems so odd to me. And I'm hoping with AI, you just say, I'm looking for whatever you're looking for. And it automatically knows, It's, I get the idea. And again, that could be really useful to us. But it just seems the way it was done was really strange. But I haven't tried it on Android.
Yes. Seeing AI also has that feature. And you can also... You may be able to use that on Android. I can't remember. One cool app, side note, is Orion. And they have like a find feature, right? But they have like a dictation button where you can just dictate whatever it is instead of like searching on the long list. And then once it recognizes what you're saying, it'll automatically like go into finding that object, which I like that extra less steps. Yeah, it's helpful.
I've heard great things about Orion. That takes me back to the very beginning of when I got my smartphone, and we started to see this object and image recognition, which just seemed like magic back in the day. It blew me away. Looktel Recognizer was something very similar. You take a picture, you give it a label, and then it would be able to find it.
That was a currency app as well, wasn't it?
They did. They were the leaders. They were the only ones back in the day.
I remember that.
I know lots of people have told me about Orion now, and I've installed it, but I haven't actually played with it. But yeah,
it does feel like a lot of this is going to be superseded by. You're talking about Project Astra, but ChatGPT 4.0. It's going to take over from all that, because if it can see. If that camera can see and can react in real time, you ask for a fork, it's going to tell you it's right in front of you. I would hope. I guess that this is the accessibility part of the story that we don't yet know how it clicks together. Because, it's one thing saying, yes, there's a fork on the table, but where is it? And, what extra tools might be required to be put into a system to actually help someone guide? Because it would assume that you can see what your camera can see. So, there's going to be a little bit of, I would imagine, adjustment there. And maybe that's what Be My AI does. It builds that capability, and maybe Envision build in those capabilities. The good news is, of course, all these apps are now available across platforms. So it doesn't matter which phone you've got access to Be My Eyes, you've got access to Be My AI, you've got access to Envision, you've got access to Seeing AI, finally, on Android as well.
Yes.
Yeah, it's taken a long time, but it got there. Carrie, talk to me about maps, because I've been reading a lot of interesting stuff about what's going on in Google Maps, in particular using the camera as well alongside maps to help guide us perhaps the last 10 yards, the classic last 10 yards problem when you're navigating yourself somewhere. You can find yourself to the building, but how do you find the door? And apparently there's new features in here that can help that.
Yes, there's supposed to be a new lens it takes you to Google Lens in the Maps app on both Android and iOS, and then it can give you guidance on whether it's to the left or to the right, so verbal guidance on how to get there. I actually haven't tried this, I don't really go out all that much. And
That's a problem for us. Yeah, some of us we're like that.
That's true.
Yeah, so I think in theory it would be a really cool feature, and I'm hoping to try it sometime soon.
Okay, before I ask you about the next operating system, anything else from Android you want to mention that you've noticed might be quite cool?
Sure. I really like the spam detection. They showcase this on Google I/O, and where, when you answer the call, maybe it's your mom or your grandparents, and, they get a spam call and they don't really realize that. But there's now a feature where it will detect spam and alert you to that. And I think that's really a cool feature.
Yeah. Very cool. Okay. I want to ask you about Chrome OS, because we don't hear a lot out in the mainstream about Chrome OS, not as much as perhaps, and I think there's a couple of reasons for that. I think that perhaps the updates are a little bit fewer out there. Also, these devices are generally, it would appear, in schools. So, I guess a lot of the updates are perhaps aimed in that direction, but there are a suite of accessibility tools inside Chromebooks, and they do seem to sell. I mean, it's not like they're not being sold. They're doing all right by all accounts. And, they've got this new Chromebook Plus standard out now as well, which is improving the possibility of, getting a better experience, which, of course, for a screen reader user is good news, using ChromeVox on there. I was the guy who bought the, $99 Chromebook on a Black Friday sale.
Oh, no.
And it was the worst experience I ever had. I'll tell you how bad it was, Carrie. Google sent me a Pixel book at the time just because they did not want me talking about the experience of ChromeVox on that machine. So I've still got that Pixel book, actually. It was a brilliant machine, but, that's another story. Let's talk about the updates, because, Chrome OS has improved a lot, right?
I'll be honest with you, I also have a Pixel book that I haven't used much, but there are a few updates that I can just say out loud. It's first, there's magnifier will now follow the words while using select to speak.
Okay.
It actually was not doing that, and I actually complained about that. So I don't know. Maybe it wasn't me, though. I'm not going to take credit.
Well done. You're a hero.
No, we give you full credit for that one.
You fixed it.
They also changed it so you can adjust the mouse cursor size, and that's similar to on Mac and Windows. That's pretty cool. I'm not sure if you can change the color, but I wish you could, because I like my mouse yellow and it's easier to see. Yeah. And then you can turn off the blinking text cursor. I'm like, wait, don't make it stop blinking. Just put some type of other visual indicator. Like on Windows, they have like little wedges with zoom text. You can do all sorts of things, like put a circle around it, do all sorts of things, because just like the mouse, you lose the text cursor. And you can also do first letter navigation on Google Drive, which I have not tested if that also applies on the web app. And this was specific to Chromebook. So that'll be useful. I'm surprised that it didn't already have that. There's also a dark mode on Google Drive, which I definitely appreciate.
Yeah, just come on. Just dark mode everywhere, please.
Dark mode everywhere. Everything.
Yeah. Global
everything.
dark mode.
Well,
That's all I want.
Is it? I was just going to mention that. Why is that specific to Google Drive? Isn't like a dark mode system at a system level on Chrome OS? I don't know.
Yes, there is a dark mode on Chrome OS, but remember, a lot of it you are going onto the browser, and so the browser, depending on the website, may or may not have a dark mode. I mean, even Gmail, I'm waiting for them to have a dark mode. Right now, the way it is, your inbox, you can have a dark theme. Your inbox, the sidebar, it'll have dark mode. But then you go to the preview on the side or the actual email, and it's all in light mode. I'm like, why? Why is it?
Yeah, but see, people say, well, even take it as, it doesn't work very well, or it is actually really important, because if you need that dark mode because you are that photosensitive. I mean, I have everything in dark mode. Well, I used to. I usually have screen curtain on now, but it doesn't matter. But I used to have it because it was comfortable for me. But I know there's people out there that really rely on it, because if you suddenly open up a browser window and it's bright white, that can actually cause actual physical pain to some people. So I think it's so important.
That's me.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Me.
It should be honoured across. If you set the system to be dark, the browser should be dark, and of course everything in the browser should also be dark. Sorry, I've got on a little bit of a rant there.
No, you're right.
No, you're absolutely right. And I talk about this all the time. And dark mode is not just a preference. It's an accessibility need that more people need to recognize. And I actually did a short on this not too long ago. It really does feel like when I'm looking at a light mode page, I'm staring right at the sun and trying to read, like, text in front of the sun. That's how it feels like to me. And a lot of people just think, oh, it's just a preference, but it's really not. And one of the frustrating things is, oh, it has a dark mode, but to log in, it's light mode. Or to, like, you press a button and it takes you to the browser, which is in light mode.
Can I ask you what apps you're using at the minute? Give us like a top 3 Carrie's favourite apps that you love on your Android phone right now.
We Zoom. Seeing AI.
We Zoom, did you say?
Yes.
We Zoom? What's that?
Zoom.
Is that a Zoom? I'm guessing a Zoom app.
It's a magnifier app. Pixel has its own magnifier app as well, and that's all right. It's okay. I am still just very much used to WeZoom, despite a bit of its flaws. It has touch controls and gesture controls, and then you can like hide all the buttons, so you can have more space for what you're magnifying, and that's super helpful. And then Seeing AI, and then I would also say Gemini, but one thing that I've found personally really useful is DigiClock. You can make a clock on any Android phone or tablet that's really, really large on your home screen, like very large. And then you can customize it, which is amazing.
Stephen and I both went, oh, can you? Because we're thinking of
that.
setting timers now, right, Stephen Scott, for recording.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I like the idea of tablets as well. I mean, sometimes you get these things and they work to some degree, some are better. I use an app on the Mac called Good Stopwatch, by the way, which is a wonderful app for that very purpose. Very accessible with voiceover, but also brilliant because it's so simple to use. It's a very simple interface. You can set, minutes, seconds. You can start and stop with the letter S on the keyboard. You reset the clock with the letter R. Super simple. That's all it does. But honestly, that's been like trying to find something like that. It's not easy. And I love it when you find an app, right? And you just think, this is the one. This is it. This does it for me.
This is less of a clock app and literally just displaying the time as large as you possibly want it. If you have a 12-inch tablet, you can literally make it the whole screen and it will enlarge. It's huge. Great. You can make it as big as you want. And a really cool feature is you can actually build in shortcuts into like each corner of the widget, and it's invisible, and you can label them with talkback if you want, but I have like one to the actual clock app, and then one to Fitbit, and one to YouTube Studio, one to the Bible, and then you can just tap it and it takes you right there. It's like an invisible shortcut.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Now, it's interesting you mentioned Seeing AI there. Google Lookout versus Seeing AI. Which is best? Go for it.
Seeing AI.
Oh, wow.
Well, there wasn't even a second thought in that one.
Really? Why is that? Because I have used Google Lookout before, and I thought it was very good, really responsive. But why is that? Why do you picking Seeing AI?
Seeing AI has a better interface. I like the interface way better. Google Lookout changed it, so now you have to go to a menu to change your modes, where Seeing AI, you literally just swipe 2 fingers. You can customize the different channels that are available, which is really great. And, it's just so simple, and it works very well whether you have talkback on or talkback off. It has more features. You have light mode, color detection, you have currency, you have handwriting, you have, everything that Seeing AI comes with. And the AI is so much better, even though I will say Lookout, responsiveness, it's actually a little faster than Seeing AI when you're in the text mode. Recognizing text is super fast, faster than Seeing AI, but it's not that big of a difference. So I'd rather have all the good positives of Seeing AI, and Lookout. It's just not enough pros, Seeing AI is just much better overall.
Just better, simple as that. And it's funny, the user interface makes a huge difference, right?
Yes. Yeah. I used to use Lookout a lot. I used to really like it, but now with that one change, and I've been saying this till I've been blue in the face, that one change literally made me stop using Lookout.
Carrie, remind us where we find you online, because you are, I believe, all over the internet.
Absolutely, yes. You can look at connect.carryonaccessibility.com if you want to look at all my different socials. That's probably the easiest. Or you can just do a Google search, Carrie On Accessibility, and the pun is intended. That's Carrie, though.
Well, today we are changing your name to Carrie On Google. For the purposes of our episode today, so just so you're aware, we're rebranding you just for one day.
Okay.
Carrie, as always, brilliant to have you on. Come back soon.
Thanks, Stephen. Maybe we can talk about the Meta Smart glasses sometime, or the Rabbit.
I cannot. Well, listen, let's do that soon. Let's definitely do that soon. Brilliant. Catch you soon, Carrie.
Thanks.
And don't forget, you can send us a message. Tell us your thoughts on Android and their updates as well. You can email feedback@doubletaponair.com. Shaun, I'm also proud to say we are still the only YouTube program in the world. I don't think they call them programs, but YouTube thing in the world that has a phone number, 1-877-803-4567. Carrier
Keeping
pigeons,
it old school.
telegrams, they're all welcome as well. We'll catch you for another Double Tap on YouTube next time. Thanks, Shaun.
Thank you. Bye-bye.